Right, 19 January 2025, and today I'm going to be giving you the first update of the week. So that is the Sunday update. And yesterday we took a break as I was traveling, and most of you guys didn't notice that I said I'll be traveling. So when I'm traveling and I'm going a long way, I'm not able to do my broadcasts because of various reasons. For example, my flight will be at the time when I'm supposed to be here. So at this time, at 5 a.m., if I'm flying, I obviously can't give an update. And in the evening, if I'm flying at 10 minutes past 9, I'm obviously not able to give an update. However, I promise that I'll consistently give you updates on everything that is happening in Zimbabwe because I know how important it is. Most of you are not able to go into town to get newspapers. Most of you are working during this time, and the important events that are taking place in our country, which is why 100,000 people come to Zimbabwe every single day. So every single day, over 100,000 people are coming to Zimbabwe to get news. So I would like to start by going through the news. We're doing less opinions now and more news. So let's start with the events that have taken place yesterday. And I want to start with the declarations of the national heroes. So 2 national heroes have been declared yesterday, and there will be a service or a funeral parade or service sometime this week. And this is going to happen at the National Heroes Acre. And the 2 are Chenamo Chimtengwende, or Chen Chimtengwende, a former minister in the Zimbabwe government, and Major General Solomon Siziba. So the 2 passed away this past week, and they have been declared national heroes. So what is going to happen is that the burial is going to take place, and I assume that it's going to be 2 of them buried at the same time at the National Heroes Acre. So very important to see who is there next week. As you know, General Chiwenga has taken over starting today as the acting president of Zimbabwe, as Mnangagwa is on leave until February. So General Chiwenga is expected to preside over the burial of the 2 national heroes. And you know that it's almost becoming a culture that 2 national heroes are buried in January every year. So last year we had an event where even more than 2 were buried at the same time. So General Chiwenga is expected to preside over the burial of Major General Solomon Siziba and Chenamo Chimtengwende, who all passed away last week. And very interesting to see. I always tell you guys that war veterans are struggling, but Siziba was not struggling. Look at this guy's house. Guys, this guy had a beautiful house. He's not one of the people that were struggling. He was, in fact, doing very, very well. Before he came back to Zimbabwe last year, he was attached in Botswana. And this is what I mean when I say a major general must have a proper house. I don't mean those little houses that you saw, like the one I showed you last year, or the guys who died last year. This guy had a massive house in Bulawayo. And of course, there are many reasons why someone who's based outside the country would do better than someone who's based inside. Most soldiers are based inside Zimbabwe. The guys who are based inside Zimbabwe are not doing well at all. But when they become a defense attaché, then they start doing well. I don't know how it happens, but money starts rolling into their pockets. So we've got 2 heroes, and also let's watch what happens to General Chiwenga. General Chiwenga is expected to do or take some action before the return of Mnangagwa. So what I expect is Mnangagwa might even jump back and try to preside over the burial of those 2 heroes. He doesn't want Chiwenga to speak. Chiwenga has been banned from all media. So all state media have been instructed by Mnangagwa not to publish anything to do with Chiwenga. So since the 13th of December, when Chiwenga allowed the Boko family to bury him at his own house in Bulawayo, Mnangagwa has put a blackout on Chiwenga. So that was the last act that was done by Chiwenga, that is allowing the Boko family to bury the former president of Zimbabwe at his house. So after that decision, Mnangagwa has made an order that nothing Chiwenga does must be published. Even if Chiwenga was to remove his clothes and run through First Street, they would not publish it. That is crazy. Mnangagwa Mnangagwa is paranoid and he does irrational and erratic things. Crazy stuff. Also, let's see what happens to Opam Chinguri. As you know, Kembo Mohadi is on oxygen and is not able to do anything. He was acting president for 19 days and did not even speak once. It has turned out that that video that you saw of Kembo Mohadi was filmed long back before he fell sick. That is crazy stuff and unbelievable. What is happening? Zan PF, Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa is crazy. He wants to go for a third term, and some of the things that he's doing are crazy. So as I said, let me go through news items. And the next story that I'm going to give you is bizarre. Bizarre means crazy. Kupenga. What's happening at Nyaradzo funeral service is crazy. So Nyaradzo funeral service is one of the biggest funeral companies in Zimbabwe. They are responsible for almost all the burials in the country after Doves. So Doves is the guys who are going to be burying the heroes and the army guys and the government officials. But Nyaradzo buries the ordinary people, people in the diaspora and so forth. However, what they've done in Filabusi is unheard of. So Nyaradzo has taken two bodies and mixed them up. That is an old lady who was killed by her son-in-law and a guy who was involved in gangs. So they were killed on the same week. They're from the same area. So Gogo Florence Msipa was killed by his son-in-law, and a young man called Thulani was killed in a fight in Mnangagwa. However, Nyaradzo took the body of Thulani and gave it to the family of Gogo Florence Msipa. So they buried it. And because most people don't look, so when your relative dies, most people don't look. This is the second time this is happening. Earlier this year, I showed you it happened again. However, this time, people are blaming Nyaradzo for not inspecting the bodies and for not keeping a proper register of bodies. So there was a switch of bodies, and the family of Gogo Florence Msipa buried the body of Thulani, and the family of Thulani buried the body of Gogo Florence Msipa. What a mess. This was terrible from Nyaradzo, and it's unheard of that a funeral parlor would make such a mistake. So this has happened, and Nyaradzo has not given an apology on this. So this is the people from Nyaradzo exhuming the body yesterday. So the bodies were exhumed and then buried in their rightful homes. And you know that when you bury someone in African culture, there are certain rites that you have to perform. For example, if a man is single and is killed, you must bury him with what is called chiguri, or that little thing in between the maize, so that he doesn't come back to harass women. The women will suffer if you bury him without that chiguri. And also, so you must bury him with his wife, his possible wife. And also, if an old lady dies, you must take all her things and bury them. So if you do the opposite, it means you bury the boy with the mbuya, and you bury the mbuya with the chiguri. What a mess that Nyaradzo has done at Filabusi. So it's shocking and unbelievable. And the family is traumatized over this. So I don't know how this is going to be sorted out. Nyaradzo, there is a need to look at this situation and address the controls there at Nyaradzo. But I think I've covered that. Now let's go to Zan PF, what they're doing now. So while Chiwenga is taking over as acting president, a group has been going around in Mashonaland, the home province of Chiwenga, and this includes Mary Mliswa here, and Ziyambi, and Marian Chombo. These guys have been going around campaigning for Mnangagwa's third term. So yesterday they've campaigned for Mnangagwa's third term. Mnangagwa's third term is expected to extend up to 2035. So I've always explained to you guys that there is a transitional period that is required. However, this team wants to extend Mnangagwa's rule, and they have now gone around telling all the people to vote for Mnangagwa in the referendum for his third term, which will go up to 2035. So we are not likely to have any election between now and 2035, which is 10 years. So you must understand what is happening here. Mnangagwa wants to stay in power. He doesn't want elections. In Zimbabwe, in the past, elections have always been held when they are due. However, under Mnangagwa, what is happening is that a group or a cabal wants to stop the holding of elections. And as I said, Mnangagwa is doing something unheard of, and ngababathwe vanhu ava. So Mnangagwa and Auxilia and vanhu vake ngababathwe vanhu ava. They are breaking the constitution of our country, and anyone anovabata will be acting within the law. Kubata vanhu ava. Ngababathwe. And the last line of defense knows what I'm talking about. You can't allow what these guys are trying to do. Vari kunyeberana. Auxilia na Mnangagwa vari kunyeberana. Vanofanirwa kubatwa so that they stop it. They must stop what they're planning to do. Right, I want to now go through other quick news. I'm in a place where the walls are very thin and I don't want people to come here and complain. So let's go to Adam Makov. Adam Makov is a Bulgarian investor who was arrested in Zimbabwe over trumped up charges by a Zimbabwean partner, Bani Kavai, and his girlfriend, Ashley Makara. So yesterday, Adam Makov was released, and he was released after it was found out that the trumped up charges of stealing a car were fake, and they were created by Bani Kavai to make him get out of Zimbabwe. They wanted him to be deported from Zimbabwe. So young Adam Makov is only 33 years old. He invested over $200,000 in Zimbabwe and bought equipment some time ago, so about 2 years ago. After his mine started doing well, his partners, Bani Kavai and his girlfriend, Ashley Makara, decided to come up with the idea to kick him out of the mine. So this mine is producing at least 10 kgs of gold a month. And they came up with a plan to dispossess him of his investment in the mine, which included lying that he was in the country without papers, and also reporting him to Interpol that he had stolen a car which was imported by Bani Kavai through the company that they own. So there is no way that Adam Makov did import this car or steal this car in South Africa. But working with fake agents, Zimbabwe intelligence agents, they managed to create this case, and he was jailed for over a week, but he has been released now, and I think he's out. I'm not sure if he's out because yesterday he was not yet out, but the judge had ruled that this young man had done nothing wrong. So crazy stuff happening in Zimbabwe. But the good thing about us having the media is that we bring you these stories that no one wants to publish, and the lies that are being published by the state media, that these young people, young investors are stealing to make it all look legal. They want to steal the mine. Anyone who has got a mining business in Zimbabwe is in danger. And I hope that Zida is aware that this is what is stopping investment from coming into our country. Anyone who wants to invest in Zimbabwe, they face massive barriers, corrupt officials, gatekeepers, poor processes. Investing in Zimbabwe is a joke. If someone tells you to come and invest in Zimbabwe, just don't do it. You end up in jail, you lose all your money, or some corrupt official is going to come and take your mine or your business. There is nothing I hate more than corrupt people, especially corrupt people in government who stop business. So whenever I have to invest in Zimbabwe, I have to deal with all these kind of people that come from one side or the other, and it always involves some intelligence agents who want to stop progress in our country. Crazy stuff. And I guess this is what Chamisa is talking about here. I hope that you've seen Chamisa's tweet. When I have saved my purpose and I'm long done and gone after this earthly sojourn, I desire future generations to always remember and be inspired by example of unrivaled resilience and unparalleled consistency in the midst of unmerited opposition. But what I would like Chamisa to do, if it was possible, is to do what this man is doing. The time for protests has come. So it's now a time to protest against Mnangagwa. He cannot be allowed to continue with what he's doing. So within the next month, we are going to make an announcement on the program for going up against Mnangagwa's planned extension of the term. So remember last year, when he arrested all those people, we went on a program under which I personally traveled around all the countries. I went to Botswana, I went to Zambia, I wrote all the presidents. So now that Mnangagwa wants to extend his third term, we're going to start that process again. So we're going to go up against Mnangagwa. He cannot be allowed to go for a third term. At this time, the protest will be in Zimbabwe. I'll let you guys know when we're going to start the program in Zimbabwe. Mnangagwa achachiona gorerino. Achachiona Mnangagwa gorerino. I'm letting you guys know that within this next month, we'll let you know what's going to happen. Nemdara uyu and his third term. You see all these guys here. Ana Mary Chukoka, Ana Ziambi, Ana Chen, Ana Owen Muda. I am letting you guys know that this third term, that is going to be their last act. You are going to see what is going to happen when they start the parliamentary process. So it's going to happen. It's going to be hot. Muzimba, mucha pisa. It's going to be hot. And you saw what happened last year. They were on high alert. At that time, they put me under 24-hour surveillance. But this time, when we try to go against them, they can't put them under surveillance. So let's look at other stories here. South Africa is in a massive crisis in terms of higher education. So you remember in Zimbabwe, when it had one university, the University of Zimbabwe and NAST, it was so hard to get into university. South Africa is not at that stage. So I just want to give you some numbers. So South Africa currently has about 20 universities or higher institutions of learning. However, the most popular ones include the University of Johannesburg, the University of Pretoria, University of Cape Town. Those are the most important or popular universities in South Africa. So this time now, children are getting ready to go into school. Universities are opening in about 4 weeks' time. And the matrics have passed. And they're now supposed to go into universities. So some of the numbers that are here. The University of Pretoria has received 300,000 applications. And they only have 9,000 first-year places. The University of Cape Town has received 98,000 applications. And they only have 4,500 places. So the whole of the University of Cape Town has got only 4,500 places. The University of Johannesburg has got only 10,000 places, and they have received 960,000 applications. The popular degree at the University of Johannesburg is a degree called the Bachelor of Education or Teaching. People want to be teachers. And anyway, most of them don't qualify. So they go and apply for the Bachelor of Education. So far, there are 500 places for Bachelor of Education for first year. And there has been 44,000 applications for the Bachelor of Education. Then there's something called the Bachelor of Nursing degree. It has received 36,000 applications, and there are only 50 places. So guys, it's crazy what is happening in South Africa, and it's unbelievable how much people want to be educated, but there is no places for education. But I've got a solution. If your child has just completed the A level, do not worry about universities. You can, your child can become or have a degree, even if they're not in an official school. So what we're going to do is, this year we're going to come up with a solution, and this is going to be free. I'm going to come up with a free solution for the guys in Zimbabwe. There is an organization called Coursera. So I want you guys to go over there for all the parents. And your child doesn't have to qualify or anything, and they'll still have a degree from a popular university in the United States, and you don't pay thousands and thousands, and they don't have to go to a school. So if you go to Coursera, in fact, let's write it properly so that you can understand what I'm talking about. If your child can go to that, Coursera.org, how do I save that now? There, Coursera.org. If you go there, your child can get a course that they want to do, and they won't pay much. It's about $50 a month. And at the end of it, they'll get a degree, a proper degree from a university in the United States. The only way that is needed is discipline. And so that is what we're going to sort out this coming 2025. We're going to do it. I've got a plan that we're working on in Zimbabwe for the guys who have not qualified, but who are serious. You know, sometimes it's but you want, however, and or you don't qualify. Myself, I was not the brightest kid at high school. In fact, my maths was the best. I got 4 points in maths. My physics and chemistry, my practicals were not good. So I didn't do well in my practicals. So I did maths, physics, and chemistry. I got 4 points in maths. I got 2 points in physics and 2 points in chemistry, which I would like to challenge how I got 2 points in physics and chemistry. However, that's what happened. I had 8 points. And because no one wanted to do computer science at the time, I managed to get into computer science. And of course, my headmaster, my former headmaster or deputy headmaster, Mnangagwa, was at NAST, where he was the registrar. And I happened to be one of the first guys to go into NAST with 8 points, because the guys in Nyaro didn't really want to go to NAST. But we're going to have a solution for you guys. If your child has not passed, they cannot sit at home, and don't go to these funny private colleges. We'll sort you out with a proper program, and you end up with a degree at the end of it all. Then let's see if there's anything else that I want to cover. Venancio Mojane doing very, very well. But as you know, Chapo has taken over in Mozambique, and this is going to be very difficult to reverse. So what is happening here is that SADC now needs to come up with a solution. Life in Mozambique is extremely difficult. Mozambique is a dump. Do you know what is a dump? Like, literally, when you go into Mozambique, these guys have mismanaged this country so much. One of the richest countries in Africa, that there are people who don't know that they're in Mozambique. This is how bad it is. It's a jungle. There is no progress outside of Maputo. Once you get outside Maputo, it becomes a dump. There is nothing happening. The government of Mozambique has got a coastline development of 20 kilometers, one of the best coastlines in the world. that they've developed and invited investors, and no one is coming because it's difficult to do work in Mozambique. The language there's too much of a language barrier. There's corruption, and the government officials of Mozambique are making it difficult for investors to come in Mozambique. Mozambique imports everything, including tissue paper. If you go to Spa, I was staying near Spa at one of the hotels there in Mozambique. Every single thing in that shop was from Portugal or was from South Africa. They make nothing. And when you go to the fish market, the kids, young kids, 50 kids rush after you, try to sell you a fish. That's all that they do over there. It's unbelievable how this country has been mismanaged, and they need a new leader. Venancio Mondlane doing very, very well and showing the country where it can go. So, unfortunately, these guys have taken over, and I believe that they're going to start shooting protesters. That is my belief, that they're going to start shooting protesters. So we have to watch seriously and closely the situation over there in Mozambique. Right, so as you can see, I just arrived. In fact, my flight arrived less than 2 hours. 3 hours ago. I just landed. And I thought I lost my phone. So what happened was, my bag was overweight. My bags were overweight. So I was now looking for my phone and I couldn't find it. And when I came back, do you know how many calls I had? Guys, so many guys were calling me here. And it was unbelievable. Right, I want to now go to the reason why I'm showing this story. I face Muroi. So I want to Muroi. So I want to show you this story here. Very sad story. A traditional hallucination. What we call a hallucination. Hallucinator. This is what is happening. Are traumatized. So most women have got what is called a spiritual husband. So I want to show you someone whose spiritual husband is a snake. So she is in the newspaper today. So I normally produce these stories, but I want to show you a face there on that picture, which was published by Kwaedza. So on your screen here, there is a woman on the left there. And then on your extreme right, there is Ndara Anonzi Sekuru-Tashu. Sekuru-Tashu. Kana muchiona kachannel kanonzi 5-point creative something. Kanogara kachirekodha gamba kwela kanotuma vanhu kuti vanorekodhe vaitaura. This is Sekuru-Tashu. Ndiye anoshandirwa na 5-point creative. I can't say Munwe Minister of Information, but I can say kuti mpana we 5-point. I shandira this guy before I end shandira avana Gen Fan. So they use him to record me, and then every time the phone pretended to be someone else talking about Chiwenga or talking about Mnangagwa. So those are the guys. And the woman on the left, she says kuti she has had a snake sleeping with her for the past 10 years. So you can go and check out that story in the Kwaedza newspaper. I don't know how it goes. Anoti, a snake comes and it goes around her waist and it does whatever it likes. So it's called Maikumbira Ichwara. She has came out. She's from Gutu. Let us say, most people who are in public are from Masvingo. Like, you can literally make a list. There's no one who's in public who's not Masvingo, including Mnangagwa, Gambakwe, Ana Charumbira. You can keep that whole list. Ana Chamisa, Ana Scala, Masvingo, Maparaza Zimbabwe. So let's go and look at Sunday Mail. Sunday Mail newspaper published. Not yet. They're sleeping on the job. I'm going to give you this news in the evening. Sunday News Zimbabwe. Sunday News Zimbabwe is not published. Standard newspaper. Let's see what's in the Standard newspaper. Standard Zimbabwe. Standard Zimbabwe are leading with the story that Mnangagwa is causing divisions in Zan PF through his 2030 agenda. So This is Chinamasa is under fire because he said Mnangagwa is not interested in ED 2030. But what he didn't know is that Mnangagwa was just being coy fish. Yeah, so he was just being coy. Actually, he doesn't want to be the president of Zimbabwe until 2030, but Mnangagwa actually wants to be the president of Zimbabwe until 2035. So 2035, and then the son of the late Boko, Gogo, is suing for 500,000 against a relative who accused of him of raping a 12-year-old daughter. So Singano has ruled that Gogo violated the victim's constitutional right and betrayed her family's trust. And the businessman appealed his 20-year jail term last year and walked out of prison. You know very well that a judge cannot just make a ruling like that for no reason. And now Gogo is appealing or is demanding 500,000 from the mother. So that is Gogo. I almost said Skokodo, but Skokotrela. So let me show you Skokotrela's face for those who don't know Skokotrela. I hate rapists, actually. I don't like them. But let me show you the face of Skokotrela. There is the face of Skokotrela Mpoko. Mbana anedzungu uyu. Skokotrela anedzungu mbana uyu. Arunyatsa mudhara wake afa. So I think I've covered everything here. South African newspapers are leading with, obviously, the stories that I've given you. And we're doing very, very well. We're going to do very, very well. 2025 is a big year. We've got so many plans for Victoriya Force. And everything is in place. Unfortunately, one of the most difficult things is implementation. And I want to let you guys know something. If you don't know how to make money, you are the worst person. So you must learn how to make money. You must learn how to take yourself out of the current situation that you are in, especially for the guys overseas. I know that you're struggling. Some of you cannot even afford the flight home. And when you die, we're going to take your body and bury it. That is the only thing that is available to most of the people overseas. However, the Victoriya Force project, homecoming project, is an opportunity for you to come back home, to have somewhere to stay where you don't pay 90% of your salary as rent. So this house, we are in the process right now. We have acquired land and we are going to be talking to people who want, with a lot of people, about 1,000 people who want to be in here. And we are in the process of making sure that you become part of this homecoming project. $1,000 deposit, $300 a month. So 1,000 deposit, $300 a month. And after 24 months, you get your own house where you can come and live with your family. This is a tiny home with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So I've shown this house quite a number of times. Unfortunately, these panels are not yet approved in Zimbabwe. So we're going to start by using this wooden one. So we're going to use a lot of wood, a lot of metal sheets, and also it will look exactly the same. Look at it. It's exactly the same tiny home, which we're going to be giving out in Zimbabwe for that small amount, 5,000 total. That is the amount of money that you're going to pay, and you won't pay for land. This is our contribution to Zimbabwe. And then my next announcement, obviously, we've got an amazing large quantity of mvea that I've just collected in Zimbabwe. We've got a new tree, and when I'm talking about a new tree, so guys in the UK are going to start receiving this one. So this is the front, this is the back. Our manufacturer in Zimbabwe, I personally inspected the mvea factory in Zimbabwe. 1 liter engine turns into 3 liters. 1 kickstart, and you don't have to crank it. So crank the band. We don't want one no cranker. So this new tree that we have is the most powerful tree, and I'm going to change the tree for the UK guys. So starting this week, if you're in the UK, you are getting the new tree, and as I said, 1 tablespoon before you sleep, and 1 tablespoon in the morning in boiling water, and make sure that you don't take milk during that time. So avoid milk. Milk is dangerous for you. Right, let's go and see if the newspapers have published while I'm talking, so that I don't go without showing you guys any important stories. As I said, we've had a declaration of national heroes, and we expect Chiwenga to preside over the burials this week of the 2 national heroes. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens, because Chiwenga has been blacked out. They've not allowed him to talk since the 13th, when he allowed Boko to be buried at his home. So when Chiwenga was acting president, for 1 brief second, so Mnangagwa went to Botswana. That moment, Chiwenga allowed the Boko family to bury their father at his home. And when Mnangagwa came, he was furious. He put a blackout on Chiwenga. However, Chiwenga is now the acting president. Starting tomorrow, Chiwenga is the acting president of Zimbabwe, and people expect him to take a big move. Tim Iri, Tim Iri, Ngaribatwe, Tim Iri. They are violating the constitution of our country, and you need, I'll personally do it. I'll personally do it. Mukatibata ava ndovabata, ava ndovabata seishwa, ava two, Mnangagwa and Auxilia vanobatwa seishwa. These people, because vadarika murao of the past, they've crossed the line. They're turning our country not only into a banana republic, but into personal property. So kune varume here ku Zimbabwe who can deal with this too. And before I go, Botswana has done it. They've appointed a new chief justice. So that is President Duma Boko here. He has announced the appointment and swore in the new chief justice of Botswana. And I like President Duma Boko. He's very, he doesn't do complicated stuff, and he does his things in the open. So very interesting. I told you last week that the Botswana judiciary was in a crisis after what happened when a judge during a ruling said President Duma Boko wants to fight corruption, which is a violation. A judge cannot talk about what happens in another branch of government. So President Duma Boko has sworn in new Chief Justice Gaolapelwe. Guys, man, Swana is so bad. Gaolapelwe. That is the new Chief Justice of Botswana. So that is amazing. This man started off as a magistrate and is now the new Chief Justice of Botswana. So amazing stuff happening in Botswana. Unfortunately, the Botswana economy is tanking because of structural issues, and they'll need to do a lot to address the issues over there. If you look behind me, you see I now have my treadmill. That is Chekufamba Cheche. The reason why I have a treadmill is because obviously the Ramanifamba street, the Chabatwa, ne boys da uyu. Plus kunotonora anyway. So now I do most of my walking inside. And so if, let's say, you know you're over 40 years old, there are certain things that you need to do. Firstly, after your last meal of the day, you must have your move. Secondly, you must do at least 30 minutes of exercise before you sleep. That means either you do weights or you do all sorts of things. So the reason why we have a treadmill is that after my last meal, I must do a 30 minutes walk every night. And my six-pack is already starting to show, guys. I think the guys who saw me, they saw Kuti Apa. Do you know Kuti, at one point, after I got sick, when I did this, it was straight. Now turning a muscle. So if you don't have muscle growth, you are going to have sugar issues. So if you don't have muscles, your body is going to fail to have anywhere to put the sugar when you eat. Don't block up anonzi God usataure zvinhu zvakadai because pane vanhu vakuru pana. Do you know what Trump watches here? So atidi vanhu vanotaura mawords mamwe so I'm not going to block you, but please don't use certain language. So as I was saying, if you don't have muscle, your body is not going to be able to use sugar. And if your body cannot use sugar, you are going to have inflammation and you're going to have diabetes. And diabetes and inflammation cause cancer. So you must understand where cancer comes from. Besides who poison animal with Zan Mnangagwa. So cancer comes from you failing to process sugar, having inflammation, and eventually that leads to cancer and diabetes. So if you want to avoid cancer when you're at that age, after your last meal, have your mve, and then do your workouts. Plus masalad, they love it when you've got muscles. Then let's answer Mkoma Jisinho Mshepu. What happened to the Kariba project? Everything is transparent. Every single piece of land that I have ever acquired is there. And it's owned by the people in the project. The Kariba project is a 16-unit self-catering project. So that project is owned currently by the 16 people who invested, and everything is in place for those 16 people. And now we're doing 1,000 people in Victoriya Force. Victoriya Force is going to be massive. And Mkoma Shafter is saying title deeds, you are going to become an owner of a share in the company that is going to be running the Victoriya Force project. Is called the National High Speed Railway. So National High Speed Railway is a South African registered company, and you're going to become an owner of shares in that company. There's going to be a mall, there's going to be a lot of amenities, and through our partners, you're going to become an owner of shares in the Victoriya Force project. And the plan is that eventually Victoriya Force will become the capital city of Zimbabwe. And how is that going to happen? Obviously, power is going to shift, and we're going to make sure that the new people that come in know that Victoriya Force must be like Cape Town. So imagine the best tourism destination in the world, one of the 7 wonders, doesn't have a town around it. Whereas Cape Town is one of the best destinations with houses that cost 250 million. If you take one house in Cape Town and sell it, you can build all the houses in Victoriya Force. How crazy is that? Guys, Mnangagwa, Arkura Evan and Nzara. And then Mkoma Betho, didn't the families conduct some form of body viewing? No, they believed Nyaradzo. So most people, when someone dies, they don't want to look at the body. It's so scary. In any way, I've seen a relative die and I look in the eyes. I don't take too long to do it. It's scary. In this particular case, so it was Nyaradzo's job to say this is a woman and this is a man. And the woman is Gogo Florence, and the man is Thulani. Then they take the body of Thulani and say, this one, the Thulani's family, and this one, Gogo Florence. However, what they did is to just hand out the bodies without doing the proper checks. And in some cases, there's no body viewing. And this is terrible. So I think for guys who came here earlier, who were not here earlier, we said Nyaradzo in Filabusi, they mixed up 2 bodies and buried them in the wrong families. And yesterday was the exhumation of those 2 bodies. And this is what I was showing you here. Let me just show you the picture for the guys who didn't see the picture. I'm very sorry about this, because now I have to go back to a story that I did earlier for context. So that is Nyaro today exhuming the bodies. Anonzima correction. Get it right first time. That is what they say. Get it right first time. Toyota, the Toyota way. The guys who know who did MBA or MBL, You know what is called the Toyota way. Do it right first time and always be improving. So kana tichikudzai musazoti gamba kwa keep improving. That's what we're doing. Most Zimbabwean companies don't want to improve. They just want to continue the old way, and they complain when you tell them kuti they've messed up. Nyaradzo must do cleansing, a cleansing family for ceremony for these families. Right, I think I've covered everything. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I really enjoy talking to you here on a daily basis, and I enjoy your support wherever I go. I get a lot of support from people. People stop me on the street, and we chat and talk. And I hope that you also support the project that we're going through. We need a lot of funding for all our projects. And one of the things that I want to do, one of my dreams, is to put up a restaurant, an African restaurant in New York. So I want to put up an African foods restaurants where we're going to be eating traditional African foods in New York. So New York is going to be very important in everything that we do. And I hope that you guys can be part of it. Before I go, I've just seen something else. And I want you guys to see another swap. I don't know what's happening in Bulawayo. So in Bulawayo, there's been another swap. So let me just share for you, baby swap at Impilo Hospital. So someone swapped a baby from one family with another. So go to the Chronicle newspaper and check it out. You must be very careful with these public officials here. And so, shocked to be discharged with a baby girl after giving birth to a boy via C-section, a mother from Bulawayo's Cowdrick Park, suburb, confirmed the suspicion through DNA testing about a month later. Guys, do you see how stupid things are? So let me tell you something about public officials. If you got a public official and you've got a query, so let's say they give you a baby girl and you give birth to a baby boy, don't just sit there for 1 month and expect them to act on your behalf. You must be assertive. So don't come out with that baby. If you're the father, I grab a collar or two. So grab a collar or two. Right? Grab a collar or two. Don't just accept nonsense. So when we accept nonsense, that's why that Mnangagwa bad way. Don't accept stupid. Like if they give you a baby girl and you've got a baby boy, fight. Yeah, fight. Don't stand there and accept this kind of thing. But I know they grew up time, Chikisa, my soldier, my officer was Chikisa. So sometimes they accept such things. But as a young person, don't accept it. Right, I would like to thank all of you for watching. And I'll answer all your other questions in person. That's my number here. If you want to get answers and if you want to invest in our projects. Thank you very much for watching and a good day